Josh, we are missing out on what could have been an incredible fight for the welterweight title at UFC 300 because the UFC did try to set up a match between the champion, Leon Edwards, and the lightweight champion, Islam Makhachev. But Makhachev did not take the fight, and it's based upon his Muslim religion and Ramadan. He wouldn't have been able to eat, drink, any of those things from sunrise to sunset. And a lot of people are thinking that, well, that's just an excuse. I think there's no way in the world you can train right and not eat, at least take in fluids.
Well, look, I had a couple messages just today. One of them was from Mohammed Mudasir, but I wanted to say his name because he was the one that's saying, hey, would you guys please speak on this? We listen, my wife and I listen to you all the time, you and Big John. We love your show. Look, it's more than just a religion to them. This is their way of life. And so
Sure.
I mean, like a lot of the comments that I had read, someone is like, look, Christians fight during Christmas. Christians also can get up in the morning and eat. They
can drink fluids throughout the day.
They're not fasting all day and then drink, being able to eat or drink later in the evening, when the sun goes down. Like there's a difference. Your body is getting conditioned to be different. It's getting conditioned differently through that time. And it's not like as if it's doing it for a 3 or 4 day period, So this is a long period of time that they're having to fast, basically a month long. Let's not start putting pressure on these fighters to do something they don't want. That being said, they understand what, like guys like Islam, Habib, Umar, this is their way of life. They were raised this way. This is what's important to them. They live a very simple life. And I can't say it enough, is we have gotten so distracted, John, with my fucking iPhone, my iPad, my this, my that. Like we forgot how to go outside and go fishing. We forgot how to, I see, and I talked to Habib when I was in Saudi Arabia through text. We were supposed to meet up and have lunch, but we were texting. I couldn't make it, but I see them all the time. We talk all the time. They're riding dirt bikes up in the mountains, they're out camping, and they're not really camping. They're just out doing activities out in the mountains and making food and soup out in the hills. Like there's other things outside of fighting. And I think that's what makes them so special, is that they've geared their life at a young age around the sport. This is all they want to do. This is it. And all their activities are geared around, even their basketball is geared around their sport.
That's not basketball.
That's basketball. I mean,
that's wrestle ball.
Look, if we could stop getting these guys in the NBA to stop flopping around, we could actually see a real sport like that.
Could you imagine if that was done in the NBA? I want to see LeBron James get suplexed one time.
God, that guy got grazed with a finger across the forehead and a hair came out of place, whatever hair he's got left. And he just started throwing himself on the ground and flopping all over the place like he died.
But here's the thing that I don't think a lot of people understand, that with Ramadan, it's not just the food. Because I honestly think if it was just food, a fighter could possibly do it. I don't think it's truly possible unless you change your life to the point where you're going to become a vampire and just be doing all of your stuff in the middle of the night and sleeping through the day, because that works for Ramadan. You're going to have to change your entire structure of when you train, and all these things during the day. Not being able to take in fluids is impossible if you're training hard. It's unhealthy. It's bad for you, and to sit there and to think that, someone's going to be able to train for a world title fight against the very best guy there is in that weight category, and you don't think he's at a disadvantage training during Ramadan? It's crazy.
I just see no reason to even consider it. I know you want it. I know that if you could push it for a couple more weeks, I'd be willing to do it. There's no doubt that.
Well, the fact that he asked the UFC to change the date, that's classic. Eh? Yeah, come on. It's like, I just changed the date 2 weeks. That's all I want. No, not gonna.
But look, that's kind of that's his mentality right now. And after talking with him, he's like, look, I want to fight and be as active of a champion as I possibly can. This is just the one time of the year that it's not going to happen. And I think you have to respect that. I respect that. That's the one thing. And John, we continue to go back over this, and I had some problems, not problems. I had some personal problems with Habib and Islam and the guys all from my gym because we had Connor on here, and when we had Connor on, it was this feeling of they felt betrayed. And I've had plenty of conversations.
And I was the one that betrayed you.
No, the conversation with him about it was that, look, a lot of things were said about my family, about my religion, about my wife, and and I expected you to be on my side. And I understand after it was put to me a little bit more that way and not looked at it as like a business. I understood exactly where he was coming from. But then as I see more and more of these interviews that he does talking about, his wife, his family, his mother, his life, all the things that are important to him, money is not one of them. And I feel the same way about Islam. And the same thing with Umar, the same thing with Usman, the same thing with Abu Bakr, the same thing with all. Money is not a concern. Like, sure, don't get me wrong, they're enjoying it right now. They're enjoying the fact that they've been able to be successful because of all the hard work they put in. But all of those stuff runs through their religion and just feeling like they are doing God's work. And I can't knock them for that. Look, some people celebrate Jesus. Some people celebrate, they have different gods. Okay. Everyone has their own
Same
belief.
God, different names.
I feel very similar to that. But he is all of them. They all feel very strongly about this. And I'm glad that he wasn't pushed or he didn't feel the need to make the change, and that he stuck by what he grew up believing in. And
it's his lifelong commitment. That's
absolutely. Right. And I know that we're going to see him fight for a very long time. He's 30, 31 years old. 31. Yeah, 31. He's got 3 or 4 more years of top level competition. I don't understand the rush to even fight Leon Edwards. I get stylistically it's a good matchup for him, but outside of that, I don't see what the rush is. Do you?
No, but I just looked and he said it's 30. He's now 32. So
okay, he's 32.
We made a mistake.
Yes, 32 years old.
No, I don't. I really look at it and it's like, there's been other guys. Bilal Muhammad's done the same thing. Bilal's actually, he took a fight during Ramadan. He said, man, one of the hardest things I've ever done. And I can understand why. And he said he changed a lot of his, time for his training and everything and stuff. And you just look and you go, hey, if this is what your religion says, then I'm 100% behind you following what your religion says. And if you can't take the fight, you can't take the fight. People put too much emphasis on, because we'd all like to see it. Mm-hmm. We would. But you got to have.
That's for our own selfish reasons, though, John. That's for our own selfish reasons.
Absolutely. Yeah, but you got to have, your morals and you got to have your values. And he does. And that's why he didn't take it. And God bless him. I stand by him for it.
He also said, I'm upset that I missed the chance, to fight Leon. And one day I hope they'll call me again for the fight. I don't see why they wouldn't. I also think that this would have been something it's a special occasion. 300 is a special occasion to go ahead and put this fight on for 300. I don't think they'll be calling him anytime soon to make this fight happen again. I just don't. I think you're going to have Bilal versus Leon, and I think you're going to have Islam versus either Dustin or Justin or one of them in their next fights. They're going to fight in their own division. I think this was a special occasion to make it a big deal. And and that opportunity has passed. Now, that doesn't mean if they both remain champions after, say, International Fight Week, maybe sometime around September, maybe they end up headlining the Sphere. You never know. That could be something as well. No,
neither one of them is Hispanic.
This is true. This is true. I'm happy that he was able to follow through with what he believes. I think we got to stop putting pressure on people. For that, they're going to have their beliefs and they're going to follow through on them. And I'm happy for him in terms of them fighting, in terms of him fighting later on. There's an opportunity there for that. We're going to see. Both got to keep winning because winning solves everything. Right, John?
Doesn't it? Doesn't it always?